Hello everyone, this is Luke here, and lately I've been getting into speedrunning, of course, because of summoning salt. And so what I wanted to do was jump into different video games and see how hard they are to speedrun. Starting with Celeste, I've been running it for the last month, streaming it, recording video footage for that upcoming video, and during this time I also wanted to interview a high-level player to get their insight on how hard it is to speedrun the game. And so today's guest, luckily we got an amazing one, Thunder, coming on, giving such great time. Not only for the video, but gave me about a 50-minute interview, so I thought might as well post the whole thing because it has such great insights on Celeste speedrunning, but also just speedrunning tips, advice from a top-level player as well. So give it up for Thunder, and I hope you enjoy his amazing insight. I know I certainly did. Thanks, Thunder, for being here with us, a top Celeste speedrunner. Do you consider yourself a top Celeste speedrunner? I do, because I'm such a rookie and I'm still so bad.
It's super subjective. I like to give myself like the top kind of accolades of, oh, I have this time and this and that. But it just depends on what you compare to. Because if I'm going to compare to world record, for instance, I'm not top level. If that's what we call top level.
Well, okay, maybe it's just semantics of top level versus high level then.
I think top level players, like people with the 26 and like really high level IL times, will call me high level, I think. But I'm close.
Sure, and I haven't looked at every category. I'm mostly just looking at the any percent, and you're just outside of the top 100. But for a game like Celeste, I mean, there's 4,000 submissions or something crazy, right? So
any front page game. Like top 200 is really impressive.
Yeah, so I consider you a high-level player, whether you do or not. So thanks for being here. I love to pick your brain. And first, just would love to know what got you into speedrunning. What was the decision to put yourself through so much pain?
In, I think, May or April of 2021, I watched the very outdated ARB like taskbot on the YouTube, which is what happens when you search up Celeste tasks. And the run was super interesting. And then I think I watched some sub 30, maybe like a TGH video that popped off around that time. And they were just amazing. And then I figured out that Celeste was on Xbox Game Pass because I was on Xbox in 2021. Mm-hmm. And I played it. I really enjoyed the game, even though I never really had a casual playthrough because I already knew how to like do all of the tech by like Awake because I was practicing it in Awake.
So you were looking at these videos before you even started playing the game?
Yeah, because I didn't want to invest my time into something that I knew I wouldn't like, so I watched the videos of what it was before I played.
Okay.
But like the only videos
to be crazy speedruns?
Yeah.
Interesting. So did you speedrun other games before, or just these videos brought you into speedrunning in general because of Celeste?
So my only other speedrunning experience was a Minecraft map called Grid Runners.
Okay, of course.
It was like it was fun to iron out movement and try out like resetting for a personal best time, but also not know what I was doing at all. So I was making my own strats for the game.
Right.
Super fun.
Nice. So did you buy Celeste with the intent of I don't care about just playing the game, I want to speedrun it, or did you not get to the speedrunning part till after playing it a couple times?
So I got it for free off of Game Pass because I like got it for a different game, and then I played a casual playthrough on the final 3 days of COVID school that I ever had.
Nice.
And it took me 12 hours, which is why a bunch of people that are like, no, my first speedrun was so bad, I got this like 2 hour, 25-minute time, right, which is better than my second playthrough where I had the intent of speedrunning to just like have fun. And
well, that makes me feel better about myself because the first part of the video I'm doing like a 10-day challenge of attempts and practice in between. And the first one, without looking anything up, was 3 hours and 47 minutes. So I thought that was abysmal, but 12 hours, man, that's kind of rough. Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's so cool to see how far you've come then, because that's a crazy, gosh, I don't even know, like 98% cutoff of your time now, right? Something off the top of my
Pretty
head, something
good.
crazy. So, how many hours have you been running this game? How long did it take to go from I'm just starting out speedrunning, doing a run for hours and hours to like, man, I'm really good at this now.
So according to raw hour count, I have 800 hours on Xbox and then 2100 on Steam.
Ooh,
But I
okay.
think like a fifth of those are probably AFK doing nothing.
Sure.
So I'm gonna say, and then like some of it is just not towards, I guess what we're gonna talk about, which is any percent. So non-main category
Sure.
or just like modded. So I'm gonna say close to 2100 hours, and also a lot of it's inefficient. I think it took me around about a year and a half to get good at the game,
Okay.
but I'm counting my start as when I started doing actual efficient practice, where I already had a 37. Like it
Sure.
took me 6 months to get from starting the game to having a 38, I think. And then I picked up 1.4 because 1.4 wasn't on Xbox until August of this year.
Oh wow.
So I got a PC in March of 2022. And then I got Celeste in like April 1st or something. So from that point on, I like played the game around 100 hours a month for a year and a half, and that's how long it took me to get from 37 feeling decent to a strong sub 30 and high level skill.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's something that I've been exploring. I've just recently gotten to speedrunning. Are you familiar with the term of law of diminishing returns?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I realized just speedrunning this last month is like going from, the 347 to sub hour, like, yeah, it took some work, but the amount of gains you're making at first is crazy. And then all of a sudden I'm still trying to break 50 minutes, and so going from 1 hour to breaking 50 minutes feels almost more than twice the work of what it did to take it down to under an hour originally. Is that kind of what you've experienced as you've progressed further and further, even though the time is getting so much more, fractions of what it was, you're having to work that much more to get it there. Is that kind of the case?
Yeah, absolutely. It took me huh. It took me a really long time to get from 31 to 29. Like 9 months where I was, since I got my 3247, and then I grinded for like sub 30 capable IL times, and then I ran for 9 months to go down 3 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then since then, I've grinded 6 months to go down like 20 seconds.
Oh
So
my
it's been,
gosh.
yeah, it's been a lot.
That doesn't
And then
encourage me.
in this like community, little like cultural, I guess, like phrase we have is that it's probably easier to go from like sub hour, let's go, sub hour,
Mm-hmm.
to like that 35, 33 range where you
Oh
really
yeah.
sort of key in, to go from like 33 to like sub 30 or 28.
Okay, well
Very
that is
tough.
that is wild. I can definitely see what you're saying though. It's not encouraging to me though. I'm like, oh my gosh, if it's that hard to go from there to there,
The game's really
that's wild.
encouraging.
So
But,
that brings me to a question because I had another when I was speedrunning it live. Someone came in the chat and they're also another sub 30. I'm gonna forget the name. It's something Jack, and I was kind of casually while talking to the chat like, hey, you're only like 4-ish minutes off the world record. Is it possible? Is this something that you ever thought about going for or attaining? And he's like, no way. Even 4 minutes off, I feel miles and miles away. Is that how you feel, or are you someone that's like, man, I can realistically keep improving and actually shoot
It
for
feels a
the world
long way
record?
off. I need. So, like, the thing about secure accounts run now is that it's 30 seconds off of the community sum of best, which is very close to like perfection. It's extremely close to perfection if that's what we're gonna call the IL sum of best. So I need to play beyond my own like perfection. Like my checkpoint sob is a minute and a half off of world record at this point. So I need to
Wow.
play a minute and a half beyond my own status of
Right.
perfection to be close. And I might not even like be on it. It might be like 5 seconds off if I played a minute and 30 seconds faster
Wow.
than some times that have taken me like a long time to do. I think I have 3 checkpoints where I've spent over 12 hours on them individually just to get the times I have. And they're like not even repeatable.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's definitely one of the things that I want to explore and get your, as a top level runner, your thoughts here. Is speed running at a certain point, how much of it is just pure raw, not natural talent skill? You know, like I look at esports players and I'm like, even if I grinded that much, I don't feel like I could get there. Do you feel like it's the same with speed running? Like the top world record runners, yes, of course, they're running dedication, you know, sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours, 16 hours a day, as I've seen in some videos, right? So what do you think the balance is? Is it purely dedication? Is it at some point you just need purely raw talent and skill among the dedication?
I think the only thing you need is to have like good hand health, which could be also knowledge. So it's like 70 to 80% knowledge, 20% execution, and then like I don't know, I'm at 90% here. Let's put
Sure.
5% into pure hand health.
Uh-huh.
But like that comes on top of having the time to do this. So
Right.
if you have over your entire like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, if you have 6,000 hours, which is a lot, but
Yeah.
over 10 years, it's very not like manageable, but it's not impossible to put in like the oodles and caboodles of time that you need on top of the knowledge if you take a
Sure.
long enough time. I don't think there's anything natural talent that makes you better than another player.
So it's more so the time and dedication. So for instance, if you, let's say all your needs were taken care of, you didn't have to worry about anything, you had 16 hours a day, all you have to do is sleep, and you know I'll come and give you money and food and whatever else you need, right? You think maybe whatever 6 months, a year, you'll eventually world record just because of the amount of time and dedication you have for it?
It's efficient practice. So if you do, let's just say 2 hours a day, that is hard if you have a 9 to 5. But I don't know, 2 hours a day, maybe an hour and 30. If you spend that time efficiently and effectively, you could probably like I'm talking what Secure Account did, where Secure Account skipped all of the slowly get better and better strats. Secure Account went, I'm gonna get a top level time. I'm gonna use my knowledge to figure out what I want to do, and then he looks at runs. He spends a year. I'm gonna have to check his like actual Discord message stats.
Sure.
But he storms onto the scene. He gets a world record 5B after posting like a really good but not top level 6A a few months prior. So he knew what he was doing. He spent a year and a half getting to top level, and then he solidified his own times by running 90% and crushing the world record with some really good knowledge and some absurd execution. Really, really good execution on everything.
Wow. So you
Like,
mentioned something, effective practice. What do you think that looks like? Is that just a matter of breaking down each jump and individual checkpoint, or is it better to run the full game 80% as much as possible? What does that look like?
So I've had a really slow progression as a runner because I only play full game. Like, or not only play full game, but compared to other people, I put in a lot of time into just doing no reset runs, which don't improve your skill. They're just really fun. And dedicated practice is looking at runs, taking every single strat and piece of movement advice that you could possibly skim, and then figuring out how you want to break things up and exactly what to drop because it's too difficult for you, and then ironing out the really short segments over and over and over again, and then slowly moving it until it's a larger segment and you're able to play these longer categories.
Wow. Yeah, and I don't know if you experience this as well. Maybe it sounds like a little bit, but to me, it's not just a time dedication, but also that's just such a grind, right? Like for me, I love running the any percent, or I love running individual levels, but to sit there and say I'm going to practice this transition from one checkpoint to the next, this same jump, whatever, 1,000 times, to me, it just seems incredibly boring after a while, right? You don't get the excitement of hitting new PBs. You don't get the excitement of running a full level. It's just like, no, I'm going to literally practice this 1 or 2 moves over and over and over until I can never fail it again. Do you struggle? It sounded like you kind of struggle with that kind of practice, right?
It's an extreme mental game. So eventually, some people, myself included, will like trend towards shorter levels. Like I have a lot of time in City, which some people are against and some people really love, and some people have hundreds more hours than I do. And when you key into these shorter segments, eventually your brain will like treat these checkpoint PBs and these segment PBs, which theoretically should not be any more rewarding than full game time, and they'll treat them with a lot of respect because you put in so much time, and it doesn't matter what it is objectively if you subjectively can enjoy what it is. Like I like in my days where I was grinding this berry sheet for the community for like a special event, I spent like 9 hours on the very first berry in Summit.
Oh my god.
Like the very first berry in 7A, I spent
Oh gosh.
like 6 hours doing that segment for any percent, and then like 3 hours like changing my strats and making sure it's all right, and then 6 hours of doing runs in that one little berry, and it was so rewarding to be done with it, knowing that I got a time I was proud of, no matter if it was literally one berry in a chapter.
Oh my gosh. Well, so what brought the joy? Was it simply the time you're beating, or was it the fact that the community is cheering you on? You feel like you're adding something bigger to, the community strats, or what was it for you that actually made slamming into that same berry 9 hours, right, enjoyable?
Some of it is just like the pure story you get from it. Like the fact that I'm able to tell a story about this is very amusing. It's not like it was major to the community. If anything, I think like 10 to 15 people use that sheet, but it's really fun to know that I have a story and something that I could also like kind of look back on and realize that I did do something that improved my skill level that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
That was also like slightly helpful to other people, and it helps me out too because it helps me key in on my like own skill when I'm able to really delve deep into like a 10-second segment.
Yeah.
Or something. I might just be waffling, but
No, that's great. That's great insight. And I think one of the things that I haven't been able to do yet, as I'm just new into Celeste, right, is that all of my things that I'm picking up is from other people, especially, like average imposters. I'm like, hey, let's just watch his videos, sub 50, let's copy those strats. But I haven't gotten to experience the strategy of trying to come up. Like I'm trying to think of like, what if a new game came out and I decided to speedrun this? There's no guides out there. There's nothing. like how do you even start, right? And obviously maybe going for one berry is a smaller task than like trying to figure out a whole new game, but I'm assuming there's some kind of joy in trying to piece things and strategies out and test things against one another, right?
Yeah, one of the best parts about starting a speedrun in any game is this thing that our community calls homebrew. I don't know what other people call it.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of self-selecting and self-creating strats based on what you find instead of what the community finds, even if they're super slow. They feel really good to like be able to name a strat after what you did.
Yeah.
And when you're starting a new game, I think you could have that same feeling by like creating the pathway for yourself. And also other people, like there's people that are really good at strat finding, that if there's a new game, you could probably, if there's a new game with enough hype,
Yeah.
that you want to speedrun it, you could probably find a strat finder or a bunch of community members that'd be able to like push you along in your task, which is what
The
speedrunning
teamwork
does
of it,
really
yeah.
well.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, I want to know, I'm interested. You've been running this game a long time, obviously, and you've mentioned like going for world record seems, at least right now, pretty out of the picture. So I guess I want to know, what is it that keeps you moving forward? Is there a certain goal that you're still looking to hit? Is there like a point where like, okay, I'm finally satisfied with Celeste, I'm going to stop playing and maybe speedrun a different game or just move on completely from speedrunning? Or do you feel like Celeste is my game, I'm a speedrunner forever, it's just in my blood?
So when I was talking about I'm not top level, that doesn't mean I'm not satisfied with where I am. I'm very satisfied with my own skill level, but I also just really, really love the game. And that allows me to push forward. And for goals, it's like I would love a 28 any percent, but if I think I could get that with my current skill level by like March if I have a good run. And then from there, I have a choice between learning a new category, moving on to some stuff in Minecraft that I'm going to do. I'm going to play
Nice.
all advancements in Minecraft, which is going to be super fun, I think.
Nice. Java
So,
or Bedrock?
Java.
Nice.
And when I get bored of that, or when I do what I want to do there, I'm going to go back to Celeste. And the kind of cycle of improvement is still going to keep going on. I might move on to modded, but I'm not sure. But I have like enough fulfillment in just completing a run nowadays where I could just do that. Like this year, my current goal is to do one any percent run every day, like completed run.
Wow.
And
So even without hitting a PB, you're still finding fun each time going through the any percent run.
yeah, and it kind of devolved. At the very start of the year, it was actually one run per day, but that's clearly impossible. And sometimes
Sure.
a good thing about like a personal hobby and not a job is that if you find something to not be comfortable, you can just stop doing it. And
Yeah.
I've dropped that goal for something more attainable, which is to just get 365 runs done this year.
There you go. Yeah, that makes sense. I love
And
that.
I think that sort of relaxation with your own skill and goals is super helpful for having fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I'm curious, because I saw someone in the Discord, maybe not right after I got there, but a few days later, they were like, and apologize, I'm going to forget the name, so if you remember and know who I'm talking about, but they posted this whole post of, hey, I don't feel like I'm getting any better, I'm kind of worn out, I just want to exit the game, you know, peace out, salute guy, you know, emoji. And I'm curious if you ever have gotten to that point. It sounds like at least now you're enjoying all these 80%, but has there been a moment over these thousands of hours that you've put into the game where you're like, man, I just feel like I'm hitting a wall. I don't feel like I'm going to get better. I should just give it up.
So in 2023, I didn't have this kind of realization that I could relax my goals. So at the start of 2023, I pinged like Racer, which is what I'm doing now, but it's just like this channel in the community where you just post and you ask for a run, and I did one run every day with no breaks for 4 months. And it wasn't going anywhere. It was a slog. I think I ended up, that was when I had the 3247. I improved down to a 31 like 40, but it took 4 months and I never took a break. And I was super burnt out. So I moved on for a month. I think maybe also I had like slight pain, but it was just burnout. And I moved on, which is the same thing I'm talking about, which I might do when I get my 28 or 27 or whatever happens. But I'm going to be able to come back because this game just gives me so much joy. Like, I took a month off. I came back in 2023, and then I eased into a better schedule and relaxing more. And I met new friends. And then I got my sub 30 after trying so hard to get it when I was running every day and this and this and this. And I just relaxed, and it made life and just like running a lot easier. And it's probably going to be the same thing that I do now.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that healthy perspective of balancing, pushing yourself to achieve higher PBs and better goals, but also realizing that, hey, it's fine to take a break. Like, this isn't all of life, and if I'm not enjoying it, like, let me come back later. So it's cool to hear your progression and how you've thought and handled that over time. So that's really cool. I want to get to now. You've already mentioned a few moments that you're really proud of. I've heard the sub 30, the talk about the berry, smashing against that for 9 hours. Is there other moments that you look back on, or like, these are some of my proudest moments while running Celeste?
Yeah. So, what makes me feel really good looking back on? I think some of my favorite moments was when I did the standard thing that a lot of new players do, where they think they got the prologue world record. It's really funny. This was back in the day when the world record was like a 27.9 or something. Or no, I think it was pre-27, actually. So the world record is 28. But that's in file time, which adds an extra, I think, second and a half. So a lot of new players will like do prologue for 5 minutes and they'll get this 27 chapter time, which is just not world record. So that was really fun. And then after that, it was my sub 40.
Were you like in the Discord and stuff celebrating this? And then someone's like, nah, bro. No,
that was a good 5 minutes before getting humbled. And then sub 40 was really nice, especially because, I don't recall. I don't think I did it with 5A, but it was a really clean run, and I finally like got something to go, and that was nice. And then after, it was this event called BTA. I got, I think, second place, and it was after doing a bunch of practice in the previous few months. I did one run, and I beat my IL sub that run. It's still so memorable. I had 14 total deaths, which is amazing, or like 14 unintentional deaths, which is huge. Like,
yeah, that's great.
There's some people that think you should have a low death count really early on, but I think, like last week I got a 3150 with like 50 deaths.
Yeah, I'm just happy when I break triple digit deaths, and like if I can keep it under 100, I'm happy.
Yeah, so that was amazing. I beat my my IL Sum Fest, which I grinded. Like I did a whole sweep of all the levels all the way through, and then I beat my oh my god, thinking about it is amazing. And then after, I can't remember the order, but I really remember there's a person in the community, Vertle, and I was the person that like pace pinged. Do you know the idea of a pace pal?
Is that like something that helps pace your run? Like
no.
You or
so
okay, then explain.
It's like the idea of pinging a run when the person that's running is ahead. Like you tell people about it so that they like all join.
Okay.
It happens in Twitch streams a lot.
Got it. Okay.
and I was racing with Vertal, and I pace pinged the Discord that he was on 26 pace. And while he was in 3K, muted and deafened because he was focusing up,
Yeah.
there's like 15 to 20 people that all joined the call that we were in.
Oh, that's fun.
That was really fun. And then after, it was my sub 30, and then now this year, I was really down at the very start of the year because I was talking about that challenge
Right.
that I was doing, and the very first run I got was just horrendous. It was like the third worst run I got this year,
Oh, wow.
and I was feeling bad about it. And then the day after, 6 month PB drought beaten, I get
Nice.
a 29:31, and then the day after that I PB again, and I get my current PB of a 29:18. So that was amazing. And then now just like living through the just like dopamine of getting a 29 like every week now when I couldn't get a 29 for 6 months after I got my first one
Yeah.
is just amazing.
It's gonna fuel you for the next 6 months of brutal grinds. Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like you have so many cool moments, and I'm hoping like as I'm getting into speedrunning, I can start seeing those and look back. But the flip side of that, of course, the thing that everyone loves to see clips of is those fail moments when someone's one button away from the world record and they hit the wrong button or something stupid like that. As you look back at it, is there any moments you're like, oh my gosh, that was the biggest fail or biggest pain point for me as I've been running?
So, it's really easy to get rid of negative emotion. Like I've at this point have so many more fails than wins because that's how it goes when you speedrun. So I like have a lot of them tuned out. But I guess like the way that I do remember them is when I have a really good run, for instance, my personal best, but they have one like bad level.
Mm-hmm.
So I could recall that my 2944, which is my first 29, had a really bad ridge. It was like super sloppy, and I have it in my brain like
Oh
perfectly
man.
that I got a 241, which is a really good time in my previous run that was right before it.
Yeah.
So I would have had a virtually perfect run
Wow.
if the 258, which I did get in my PB, was a 241, and then now the other one of getting a in my 2918, I get a 617 reflection split, which is god awful for me. Where if that was the run that I got yesterday, which I was so happy about, or if I got any other sub 6 file time, it would have been a 28. So I would have already got my 28 this year
Oh
on the
man.
3rd of January,
That's
which would have
brutal.
been huge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The longer and longer, that's what I'm talking about. It's like the longer you go in a game, going from checkpoint to running a level to running the whole game, it's so hard to piece that all together where there's like, as you said, 95% of the run went perfect. And then there's just that little 5% that's egging you on. You're like, oh, that could have been so much better and changed everything. Oh, yeah, it's interesting the thing you were talking about beforehand when I asked you about biggest fail moments. It sounds like because you've run this game so many times, you were able to mention a few fail moments maybe, but it sounds like overall a lot of them just blend together so much because you've been running the game. Do you find that true?
Yeah, because eventually, um, I you realize this the longer you like speedrun, but you're just because you got to run one time doesn't mean it's never gonna happen again. So like I'm gonna be on the exact same run as my 2918 and get a better reflection. I'm gonna be on, I don't know, an amazing summit pace and not choke the 819 that I've probably lost like 10 times now. It's gonna happen. And you kind of just flow with the mistakes you make because you'll just get back, and there's never a time where you can't ever do something again. at this point in my life. I know eventually I'm 80 and I'm going to go on my last walk up the stairs or something.
Right.
But I
If
don't
you're still
know.
speedrunning Celeste at 80, I'm gonna be watching that. It sounds wild. Either you'll have so many decades of experience, you'll be so good, or your hands will be so decrepit that you'll be like trying to mash buttons but not able to. One of those two, I feel like.
I'll do deathless runs when I'm that old.
Awesome. I love it. Well, any advice you have for new runners getting into speedrunning, either in general or Celeste specific? I feel like you have a lot of advice kind of throughout already what we've been talking about, but anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, so this game, amazing speedrun tools. Maybe the best like speedrun tools in any gaming community. They are so good. Like the only thing we're missing in our speedrun tools and uh like helping tools for new runners is multiple save states, which requires an entire rewrite of the code. So I don't think it's
Oh,
going to be
wow.
done because it's volunteer work, and it's being worked on, but it's always being worked on. So I never know if it's going to get done.
Yeah. Yeah.
An updated any percent tutorial, but now there's secure. Not oh my god, whoa, out of my brain. There's programmatics new any percent tutorial, which is 4 years old, but just
Sure.
because it's old doesn't mean it doesn't have very good looks at most strats. Like you could get a sub 30 if you really key in on the movement that he speaks of, and he does all the strats.
Wow.
One of the people in the community named Scun, who's a tasser now. I can't pronounce the name for shit.
That's
Um,
okay.
they have a 2822 with all of programmatic strats in their run and nothing
Wow.
else. So
Dang.
if you're patient and you look at these tutorials and you pause, make sure you pause and you have the game open and actually do what is being said as it's being done, and then pause, look back at it, and make sure that you have everything correct and slowly work through. You could probably get a sub 40 in a month with enough time, like 100 hours maybe, so probably longer than a month for a lot of
Mhm.
people. And beyond that, it's a lot of work. I'm so jaded to sub 30. Not like jaded in a different way.
Yeah.
Jaded in that I've spent so long grinding for it
Uh-huh.
that when other people do it faster than me, I can't tell if my time is accurate to their time spent. So I
Sure.
can't give like a proper thing, but it's not impossible to do it in like, I don't know, a year, longer than a
Okay.
year, if you work on the right things and you like get help for what you're struggling with and make sure you're looking at the right tutorials. And very important, copy the right strats. If you look at like an IL world record, an individual level world record, or a super tough full game time, like anything past 2630, there's going to be so much stuff in there that is extremely difficult
Right.
that you do not need to put time in at all with. So like make sure that you look at a run and like talk to other people, like ask what runs do they think give good insight to what the time you're looking for is.
Yeah.
And that goes across all games. If you could access the like the Discord or whatever other community feature they have to talk on. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like knowledge is super important. Knowledge is going to be significant to completely you 100% need it to get any top level time. And so if you can amass knowledge by asking the right questions or just like looking at every single run and trying to pick apart everything and trying it and figure out what you don't like, Like those things will take you everywhere, basically.
Love it. Yeah, it sounds like dedication, patience, and then setting realistic goals is some of the things I'm hearing you say. And I think, of course, that makes a lot of sense in speedrunning and probably life in general, honestly.
Yeah.
So, lastly, I wanna know how stupid you think I am. Okay.
Stupid.
Yeah. So here's.
I mean,
let me set up the question. You don't answer it yet. You don't answer it yet. Not just in general. So here's the premise of the video, right? So I'm assuming you've seen summoning salt videos.
yes.
Yeah, he's the goat. He's the wizard, and that's kind of what's hooked me in. I've binged like all of his videos the last couple months, and so what I wanted to do is kind of dive into it in a first person's perspective and go through different video games and see how crazy, how hard is it to actually even approach the world record. So the video series is something like 10 days from complete noob to world record with, a couple practice days in between because, you got to learn stuff in between.
And the world record for the clickbait. Gotcha.
So, yeah, exactly. So, basically doing it all in 1 month. I'm 6 runs through, and I got 4 more runs. How close do you think I can get? Currently, I just hit a 54-minute, and over the next week, I got 4 more runs left in me with a couple practice attempts. How stupid am I?
So, do you have a time to work on? Like, it has to be within 10 days. You have to do all 10 runs.
So basically, I'm doing 10 days. I don't want to go over a month, so that gives me about like 2 or 3 days between to practice individual levels or checkpoints or whatever I'm working on at that point.
I'm completely willing to spend a bunch of free time on helping you out, and I think you could. Wow, nice voice crack. I don't know, get sub 50. Maybe if we work like a lot, like if you're gonna do 2 or 3 days between every run, we just look at like I don't know 2 levels per the 3 days. So
okay, put me in, coach. I just got a free coach. I didn't even know. I didn't even expect that.
City in sight. Like look at prologue for like 5 minutes so that the cutscene skip cues. Yep. Don't like because even though it's amazing content, if you lose a run, or not lose a run, but if you lose 10 seconds to one of the cutscene skips on one of the days, it's not looking good for you.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely happened.
And then like you put a large amount of majority, so like a majority of the game. How we define it is that prologue through your temple exit is roughly half of the game, and then reflection and summit are the other half of the game. And I don't know if that's true for sub-hour, because I think you might be slightly faster in the late game or slightly faster in the early game if you haven't practiced the late game.
Right.
But I think... Do you have your times, actually?
Yeah, I can send you my PBs. I think
nice.
I screenshotted the recent ones here.
Yeah, because...
Most of them are kind of like based off of what perfection is in the sub 50 goals. Like a lot of levels are still like a couple minutes off of that even.
Average Imposter's Guide is... Average Imposter's Guide is great, but I do think the strats are a lot better than the goals he gives. So maybe like looking at the unlisted video sets that he gives in there, I'm pretty sure there's a link to it.
Yeah, okay.
Are like amazing because they get a 32 sum of best, which is like holy crap.
Yeah, which that
so
would be,
let's just say
I'd be happy to break
that,
50 at this point.
Off of that, you're not going to get a mistakeless run. So let's say you lose 3 minutes to straight up movement. And then also you just take a bunch of deaths. Like you take like, I don't know, 70 deaths, 80 deaths or something. And then that's like, let's fluctuate, depend on the room average, blah, 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 blah. Probably 4 or 5 minutes. So you could probably get like a 42 by just like trying to copy the guide. And like
that would be great. I'd love a 42.
I believe in you.
Okay. Well, obviously the whole point of the video is to show how ridiculous these world records is. It's like, you know, I don't know if you ever watched the Olympics, but when I watch the Olympics, I'm like, those guys are crazy. But I'd love to see like what is the average guy running or swimming next
Yeah.
to them look like? You know, how ridiculous is this? Because even last place in the Olympics would, you know, totally destroy
Last place
whatever
in the
I could do, you know?
Olympics is still a finalist, which means that they had to qualify through
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
100 other countries. They
Exactly.
could probably whoop your ass 20-fold.
Exactly. Oh, 100%. No
Hmm.
doubt. No doubt.
But if you want to bring it back to how far away you are from, or like how far away an average player that puts in like decent time is from the world record,
Yeah.
the you'd have to improve so much. It's like
A
an
year or
unspeakable
two or
amount.
what?
And
2
you will
years?
be a much better than average player in 10 days than a lot of other people. And it's like indescribable kind of how far you are, and like I'm very 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 far off. Like I don't know how to describe it either, but it's not like me and you are nearly as close as like me and secure account.
I
It's
wouldn't
just
say that.
it's a far way away. It's a long way away.
How far away you feel from secure account is how far away I feel from you. So that would make me double at least to secure account with the
Well,
world
yeah.
record.
Well, exponential.
Yeah, exponential for sure.
But I mean, I certainly believe in you to like accomplish this
All
by 10
right.
days.
Okay, well, the other thing that I'm trying to do in this series, if I continue it and test out other games, is give kind of my thoughts and opinions on which games in speedrun categories I felt like personally were the hardest. And obviously, it doesn't sound like you've sped running a bunch of other games besides Minecraft. But do you think there's something specifically unique and challenging about Celeste, or do you feel like maybe all speedruns have a similar level of difficulty and it's just amount of dedication you put into it?
Well, there's a few things going for it. Celeste is a front page game, which means it's gonna have like significantly more competitiveness than like a lot of other games, even if they are popular series. Like I think some Super Mario Galaxy games have less than 100 runs on the board, and of course the world record will be like really good. Actually, I could probably look at Galaxy myself, but like the world record will be extremely good. I don't know how it relates to our own game, but like it's more believable to get to a higher level with like a Mario game and get like I don't know top 100 on the boards than well maybe not the 2D ones, especially not.
Sure, some of the
You
older
know,
ones are
yeah, like Mario
are
Bros.
crazy.
1 is probably not gonna happen
Sure.
for a lot longer
But
than
what you're saying is just the amount of
10 days.
competition there
Yeah,
is
the
in
amount of
Celeste is
competition.
super
There we
high.
go. And then certain other games like Minecraft, extremely difficult to be top 100. Absolutely. But there's something to be said about the luck involved in the game because you literally roll like a seed bank that's over a billion seeds or
Yeah.
something. So
Yeah.
if you,
I think that's
if,
one of the unique things about Celeste, right? Is there really isn't RNG. It's
no
this
luck,
is
no
your
luck at
skill.
all.
If you fail, it's because you screwed up, right?
Yeah, and you could also choose to like literally never do a strat that has any RNG variants. Like there are some things that are objectively not RNG. The task did it 100% of the time, but like there's certain setups that are one frames that can be zero if you're not on the right pixel on this frame and the right subpixel on this
Sure.
frame.
Sure.
So if you choose to do none of that, you could have 100% like skill based in nothing else
Yeah.
and probably be in the top 100 if you're like, well, probably just be really, really fucking good. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man. All right.
I
Well, we'll
guess.
see where all this goes. But as far as this video, we can talk about potential coaching offline here. But I just want to give you a chance because you've just given up so much time. This is such good insight both for that video, but I think we'll post this somewhere full length as well. So anything that you want to shout out, I don't know if you're streaming your runs or things like that, but things that people can find out more about what you're up to.
So let me actually grab my Twitch link while I'm talking.
Yeah, I can always throw that in the video link as well. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm working on both getting the 20 any percent and just doing a run more. But now that I have a good mic setup and now that I have the opportunity to actually shout myself up, shout what? Shout out myself.
Up. Shoot myself. Yeah, no.
Now that I can shut myself up and stop talking, I'll keep talking. And I'm going to be streaming more. And then after this, I'm going to move on to a bunch of Minecraft stuff. I want to get a sub 20 any percent. And then I want to work on all advancements and see what time I could get by just having really good knowledge and no mechanics, because my mechanics are really bad.
Sure.
So that sounds fun. And then I have no idea what I'm going to do after. But I do want to shout out the community for being awesome and accommodating.
Yeah.
For nearly 3 years now, or coming up on 2 in like a few weeks. I don't know.
That's wild.
And just like having so many friends in the community and people that I've made friends with outside of the community from this game.
Love it.
Great.
Cool. Well, if you guys are tuned into this, I'm sure, as you said, there's millions of viewers coming to this, Thunder.
Million.
Please check out ThunderVolt00 on Twitch. We'll put the links there as well. But overall, Thunder, this was super fun. Glad we did this and appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.